Yeah, well, all right. And welcome back to another exciting episode of the Planet Gen X podcast. I'm Sean. That over there is Brian. And back again with us, we're so happy, is our good buddy Joel.
Hey.
Yay. Hey, Joel. Nice to have you back, man. We really appreciate you coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, always, man. You're always welcome. So, before we get started, guys, I got to ask you to hit that subscribe button. Leave us a like, leave us a comment. We got a couple comments recently. We got a new subscriber. Shout out to that new subscriber. Yeah,
Thanks,
man.
Megan.
Nice to see some people commenting on stuff. That's cool. Yeah, they didn't care for the Doctor Who, that little last Disney Doctor Who thing we talked about. And that was before we got to watch it. So we have now since watched it, all three of us. And let me just say, man, let me get my notes up and I'll tell you what to do.
I'll tell you what I think about it.
And I'll tell you what I think about it. New Doctor Who episodes 1 and 2 have been watched and some laughter was had, right? But overall, the disgust is strong with this one. Man, it's clear to me, though, that this is geared for a Y7 audience. And we have Disney to thank for all this. Because we're basically, to me, it felt like we were watching the Sarah Jane adventures of Doctor Who. Now, Russell T Davies has always allowed a tiny bit of the youth humor to Doctor Who. Remember the farting Slovene? That was kind of you were used to having little things like that here and there. But this feels different, though. For those that have seen Sarah Jane Adventures, you will remember that David Tennant did a crossover episode with them. And to me, it was barely watchable because I really liked Tennant a lot, but it was rough. It was very bad. It was very childish. And it's exactly how that show was designed to be. It was for that target audience. So, I knew that, and it just wasn't for me. So now Doctor Who, it's always been a kid's show. But it's always had such great writing that it appealed to everyone. And it's that part that's missing from what it is now that I believe is why everyone is not liking it as much as they used to. And I think they're just not liking the Doctor's new production environment, I would say. Yeah, some don't like the Doctor either, Yeah. I might be one of those people. It must appeal to everyone. It really must. It always has. So never mind that part. Then you're hit over the head with the Disney agenda of virtue signaling. So, and to me, it's a very no-win situation for many people. And judging from the numbers, most people, it seems, because, guys, you've all watched it. Now, Space Babies came in with 2.6 million viewers, overnight viewers. And that's minus the BBC iPlayer stats, which, let's be honest, that's where they're going to get the most of their views, I think. And 2.4 million viewers for the Devil's Cord.
Right.
This is the lowest rating ever, except for, it would almost be the lowest rating ever. Yeah. But The Legend of the Sea Devils only secured an overnight audience rating of 2.2 million back in 2022. Yeah. So most people stream nowadays. So I imagine the iPlayer numbers, which I couldn't find, add a lot to that. So I'd like to see how this all shakes out.
I know the iframe numbers. It's 20 to given. It's not rumor. It's not speculation. It's what the BBC is saying. So it's 20 to 40% more viewership is what they're saying. That's all they got from the iPlayer. 20 to 40% more. That's all they got.
Yeah, that's hard to decipher.
Well, it's still low.
Yeah, no doubt. So like that was first episode, the Christmas special, The Church on Ruby Road. It streamed like a whopping 10.1 million times on the BBC iPlayer. Yeah. So,
right. And by the way, officially Disney has not announced their ratings at all and how many people watched it on Disney. So all these numbers that you're seeing are these numbers are coming out from the BBC.
Didn't they have to retool recently, Disney, because of padding their numbers or something on the site?
I don't think they did it with this. I mean, Disney still to this day has not released the numbers on Doctor Who.
No, not on
these
Doctor Who
episodes
specifically, but if I recall correctly, I want to say it was sometime around, sometime after Loki season 1, before season 2. I'll put it that way. I don't know the exact time frame.
I remember that moment.
If I recall correctly, they got in trouble for padding numbers on their viewership.
Yeah, they did back then. But I don't know if that's going to happen now or not, because people have to care about the show. So, I mean, there's a lot of, when it's this low, I don't think you're going to see a lot of positivity.
Right.
So, anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead, please, Sean.
Oh, no, you didn't interrupt at all.
That's why you're here.
Yeah. I mean, like, first of all, I mean, yeah, just say whatever you want to say, because at this point, you know, I've said my monologue. Have you guys, well, let me ask you this. Have you guys watched Sarah Jane Adventures?
Yes.
Okay.
I was going to say, I know Jay has. I did not. I tried to go back and watch them. Unfortunately, I was an adult at the time, and I just could not do it.
Yeah, it's rough.
I'm a big fan of K9, and when they brought K9 back, I was in like Flint. I had to have it. I had to watch it. I wanted a robot dog since I was a kid. So, Chomp, you know, Benji, and the early 70s movies where the dog dies and they rebuild it as robotic.
I love that one. Movie. Yes.
It is striking a chord with you. Since then, I've always, and then, you know, Tom Baker, and then seeing K9, and I was like, I'm in, you know, I want the, and it grew, of course, Brian knows, it grew for me. I do like mecha. I'm a big mech fan. But it all started with K9. So yes, I was in heavy with Sarah Jane. Sure.
I didn't know that was the genesis of it.
Oh, for me, yeah, like the Benji and the the robot Benji.
I didn't know it all started with robot dogs. Mine is actually kind of similar, and we'll talk about this more when we get on Fallout at some point, because we do need to talk about that.
Yes, we do, as
the three of us. Yeah. But for me, it was a similar thing. Robot dogs. It was from Riffs. If you remember, I can't even remember what name they were. The War Dogs. Is that what they were?
Yeah, they were.
They were basically canines with implants, and they were like soldiers.
Yep.
And I was totally obsessed with that, like how the tactics and mentality and all that would work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you've seen it, Joel. So you know that it's definitely geared for kids, right? I'm not off on that.
No, you're not off on that. And if you want me to spout my statistics real quick, I can do it. It's less than a paragraph, and I can tell you exactly who it's for. If you want me to do that now.
Yes, please go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Okay, so in my notes, I went and got the tech notes, and then I went to the like the production pages to find out exact things, like what is happening and why is it happening. And I didn't put in here like the slang. And I've got like Russell T. Davies in Davies in my notes here, but I didn't write what he said. But I can give you the gist of it. It's very rude, what he said. It's very rude what the others have said. So I tried to keep that out of it. I told you I try to keep a positive outlook. If I'm going to watch the episode, now I'm going to put my time into it. I need to have a little bit of suspension of disbelief. So when I came across like, F the normies, or, F this, or F these people, go touch grass. I mean, I read all kinds of crap like this, and I was like, yeah, you know what, man, you're not helping me want to watch it by saying all this stuff. And you're not giving me anything. You're being slanderous, or you're being, crass and rude. So what I'm about to give you is just tech. This is just behind the scenes tech, and if I tell you this it's a spoiler, so I'll spoil it now. It's going to go a little bit beyond what the normal person, and I mean everybody, I mean the whole 100% of normal people that are not in the film industry, probably don't recognize and don't see. And it may screw it up for them, and I don't want to do that, but you've been warned. So here we go. Yeah, it's on Disney Plus, a couple episodes. It's a change in Whovian tradition and their traditional broadcast system. Disney is responsible for this because of the attention span of today's youth, the TikTok brain. Right. It's made for the USA as a priority. It's on the BBC iPlayer and Disney Plus. People are referring to this as Dr. What? I'm going to say it nice. Dr. WTF. Yeah, that's what they're saying. That they're referring to as, that's the nicest way I can put it. Dr. WTF. It's not about bad writing, and you're not going to hear that come out of my mouth. So this will be the last time you hear me say it's bad writing or something like that. It's not about bad writing. This time around, they're going for specific message delivery through an agenda-based narrative. This targets specific sets of people, messages in each episode. These episodes are meant to offend you and disconnect the previous Doctor Who fan, and then create a new Doctor Who fan who will accept the 7 to 10% of the population for whom this is made about. Make no mistake, though, the 90% are the target audience, and they are writing it to make you change. The target audience is technically, since it's on Disney Plus and the BBC iPlayer, 6 to 12-year-olds. So keep all that in mind as you go. Sure, go ahead.
I want to pause because this is something that came apparent to me as a viewer when we watched The Devil's Court, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was obvious that you're supposed to hate the maestro just by looking at him.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
I'm going to skip my Russell T Davies bit because I told you why. But number one, Space Babies. Each episode, like I said, is targeting. And so each episode is not going to be what we got with Whittaker. All right. So with Whittaker, we got talked down to, condescended upon, lectured to, white man bad. I mean, you name it. You name the lecture. We got it with Whittaker. We all got it. It drove numbers down and insane. They brought Tennant back. We had the 5 or 6 episodes. And then
huge numbers, right?
They're not huge, but they were big. I mean,
compared to what had been happening
and we got a taste of that foolishness too with the giant Donna and giant Doctor and that crap. Ugh.
Yeah, so we did get a little bit of goody good, but then just I mean, it's forest for the trees. Yeah, you get to the end, and then they have that. And I love me some. I'm as straight as an arrow, guys. But I love me some NPH. Is that what his name is? Yeah, Neil Patrick Harris.
Oh yeah.
And so seeing him behind the cannon, I've loved it. Loved his acting skills since Starship Troopers. So
I think everybody was in agreement.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah. So he's great. So seeing him behind the cannon shooting the Doctor, and they've got representation standing behind him, but the bulk of it's female. One of them's handicapped, but he shoots the Doctor and then splits the Doctor in two, and then the 2 women pull the Doctor apart, and you get this guy. And I get it, and then he took the, what do you call it? The, come on now, the Emancipation Hammer. It's what I call it. But
I don't remember.
He took the Harley Quinn hammer, hit the TARDIS, made 2 TARDISes, and then made one, handicap accessible. And, I was like, okay, cool. This is cool. But he left a different universe there. So, and remind me, because I need to tell you about Space Babies and what the rest of the episodes. But the reason I'm telling you this is because they get to the point where Star Trek Discovery has advanced past them in writing. And like I told you, they split the canon. And they left it alone. They took them to the future, blah, blah, blah. But now you're looking at a show that did not split the canon. They just split the characters up. So we're not looking at a reset universe of Doctor Who, although some people are going to say that. They're going to say, oh, this is episode 1 of Doctor Who, because that was the 14th gen. There's no more gens of the Doctor. You can't have it anymore. So we've got to have some kind of parallel here. Well, you can't have any more
Doctors. We don't know that. You could theoretically have it because
we're believed
we were never told.
No, you're never told, but you watch him split apart. So you can't have another one, but you can duplicate him. Right. So he duplicates. We're meant to assume is what I believe.
Well, what I'm talking about is like basically he was gifted more lives by the Time Lord, blah, blah, blah. We don't know that amount.
Yeah, we don't know that. Yeah, we have no idea.
But well, I think they did say that it was a whole lifetime. So he gets a whole new set of 12, 13 regenerations.
Yeah, so he, I don't know whether you want to call him the 14th or if you want to call him the first. If that's your call, whatever you want to assume, it's on you. All right, so that's where we're coming from. And then we have the Christmas special, which was a little wacky. And I don't really need to talk about that one. And then Space Babies. We have Space Babies. Okay, so each one's going to have a message for us. This one, their messages meant for, like I said, it's targeting us. but
young adult. Right?
Yeah, its actual audience hit is 6 to 12 from Disney Plus. So it's targeting us though, because it's saying space babies, globalist depopulation agenda. This is pro-abortion. So the whole episode was written about pro-abortion. At the end of the episode, it kind of screws up. It preaches a message of let's save everybody, including the boogeyman.
Right.
Let's save them all.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, we're told this is pro-abortion. This is how we manipulate babies. This is how we keep the population controlled. Blah blah blah.
I completely disagree.
Right, but this is the the pro-life message at the end, and you're welcome to disagree. I'm looking at their notes, their production notes. So I'm sitting here looking at it, going, okay, well that was space babies. So they go in this route, and then at the end they end up with the pro-life message. So it kind of, I'm like, why? And we wouldn't get the pro-life message if it wasn't for the doctor and for the what's her name? I can't remember the companion's
Ruby.
name. Ruby, thank God. All right, so if it wasn't for Ruby, and they wanted to save everybody, including the boogeyman, and I'm like, okay, this is interesting. So I'm going to give it like a little prop for taking it in a different direction, lecturing us at the beginning about how the people were bad, left all the babies on the station, the weirdness of the babies talking. I'll forgive some of it. But then by the time we get to the end, it's pro-life, and I'm like, okay, this is not far left. This is oddly, conservative. So I was like, okay, this is weird.
It is weird.
Yeah. So we can go back to the fact that this, regardless of whether or not you like it, it's art. You can be an interpretive. The people that make art don't necessarily get the final say, right?
Right.
In my opinion, once it's released, it belongs to the world. Right.
Yeah.
And I think the way that particular episode presents its way to everybody, to just the general person, is this idea that, I think it's supposed to tell us, this internal thing that we've got going on. If you have the internal storyteller, not everybody does. But this idea that, maybe the bad parts of you are still a part of you. And things like that, like, judging people for skin color, deformation, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Anything that is not of your particular strata or whatever, then, they're trying to tell you it's not necessarily bad. And that's just Disneyfication. That's, virtue signaling, call it what you like. I think I've accepted the fact that this is what this doctor is supposed to be. It's supposed to be like teaching kids to not be monsters. And I think that's probably an important thing right now.
Except they wanted the monster at the end. You got to remember, man, they saved the monster too.
Yeah.
Well, let's be clear. That's what I was saying, is like, they're teaching these kids to not fall into the trap that everybody else is trying to get the kids to fall into.
You're not wrong there. I'm not denying that.
I'll tell you what, though, the funny thing is that baby episode, I laughed my ass off at a lot of parts. I mean, it was just so absurd at
just
first.
The babies talking made me laugh sometimes.
It was very absurd.
I had a hard time with that. I didn't want to say I laughed, but yeah, that's what I meant by I had a hard time.
That one kid, Eric, man, Eric the Brave. I mean, it was just funny when he just charges into battle with his little wooden sword, man. Some parts are very great. I definitely like the feeling that I'm in a Russell T Davies environment, and I can tell I'm in that environment, but I just could do without all this unnecessary stuff, man.
Well, I mean, this feels like kind of the same thing that we were talking about recently with Star Trek. It's the decision making and the storytelling process, right? It's what you were telling the story with, what the story is about, what, like how it's painted. And right now it's just very kind of procedural, I guess, right? It's just like what you see is what you get, and like, here we go, right?
Yeah.
And I I don't know. I think that's just like the new model of writing, and we're going to see more of it once AI is more involved in writing. And yeah,
I think it's already involved personally in some of these scenes. I really do.
well,
I believe
it probably is. I'm just saying, as it gets more involved, as more and more people are like, okay, we don't need writers or a writer's room.
Yeah, as fundamental as some of this stuff is, and the way we keep talking about these devices thrown in, it does seem very much like AI is writing a lot of this.
It's heartless. That's what the word you're looking for. Heartless.
Yeah, it has no soul.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I would argue that happened when we lost what I consider true movie magic, which was like, you know, the chemistry and everything involved of making movie magic happen before we had, you know, CGI and whatnot.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's the second episode, the Devil's Chord. I thought it was interesting that they had that line in there where the at the beginning where that dude says, "Get away from that man."
Right.
And I was like, wow, so okay, they're going to do that.
Nobody said, "Did you just assume my gender?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was weird because I kind of expected that,
Right.
you know, but they let it go through, and that's the way I think that. See, but that's exactly how I think it should be. Like, if it wasn't so forced down our throats, that scene would have been perfectly acceptable to me 20 years or back when 15 years ago or whatever, back when Tennant and Eccleston and all that, when they were doing stuff like Jack Harkness and stuff, doesn't bother me a bit. It was just sprinkled in, man. And nobody had an agenda back then.
Right.
They were just like, this is just a sign of the times. It's okay to have a gay character in this. No big deal. But when you just start making, you know, like, you just get ridiculous with it, man. Cause like, you can't have white people on the screen without making it an interracial family. Yeah. That's all we ever see anymore is interracial families. As long as there's white people. Like, what's that? What we just watched or something where, well, hell, look at Ruby. Ruby with an adopted black family, right? She's the white girl, right? She's the only white in there, and she can't have white parents. It's just not allowed. And that's a problem. That's the problem I have. Let it be allowed. Let her have the white parents, and everything's everything, man. It's just sprinkle it in a little bit here, a little bit there. Don't be over the top with it.
I don't see. I don't know. I've got a different feeling on that. She, by the writing of this entire arc of hers, it necessitates her being an orphan.
I don't care that she's an orphan, but why can't she have white adopted parents?
Why does she have to have that? That's what happened.
No,
in the room, right?
see, you're missing.
Like, why does she have to have white adopted parents?
Because everybody's got this agenda now that you can't have white people on the screen without having them in a mixed family. Every fucking commercial that comes on TV has a black man and white women. It's everything now.
I've seen
so
it.
I'm saying that the it's flipped, right? It's more the other way now. So when you say, why isn't it okay for there just to be white people in here? People would call it reverse racism. I don't know that that's necessarily the correct way of putting that, but you know, I mean, it is in a way, because now all of a sudden it's not okay to be white by many interpretations of the way you see things. The news that comes over the airwaves and the different things we experience in the last few years seems to suggest that.
Well, you're supposed to be triggered. That's what I was telling you about the descriptions before.
Right.
Every episode is supposed to trigger.
Right. Yeah.
But I can tell you about the Devil's Chord, what I call Maestro episode, is this is about the world ending without creativity in it. Apocalypse unavoidable when all music and creativity involved in music is removed from life. So Davies himself tries to foreshadow, which is still allowed. I mean, you're going to see all these tropes, the same as you do in other things we watch.
Yeah.
So Davies himself is foreshadowing an apocalyptic agenda to the show itself and how he expects you to react to being triggered. And also in the episode, if I don't know if you listen closely as they're I can do spoilers, right? I can.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
Hey, spoilers coming in.
Okay, here, yeah. So as the maestro is being sucked back into the, whatever that is. It was a piano, I think.
Yeah,
right?
it was an upright piano.
Yeah. He name drops an even bigger villain that's due to happen in a later episode. So
foreshadowing.
Two-parter. Yeah. So, he wanted to inject it properly. But this basic episode was, this is what happened when you can understand from his perspective, from his perspective, he's in that 7 to 10%. Davies is in that 7 to 10% population. So from his writing perspective, he's the creative. You get it? And he's the one who's always getting yelled at and argued about, and people are not liking that. It's the same thing that's triggering you. People are gonna get triggered. You're gonna get triggered in every one of these episodes on purpose by him. The problem with this whole thing for me is it's the target audience being the 6 to 12. I'm like, wow, you're going to do these triggers down to that young age. So they're not even making this for, 13 to 18, or as the old demographic, 16 to 26. They're definitely not making it for, the actual, I know it's confusing, but the actual show itself is not made for Whovians or anybody that is, an old.
You actually got it backwards. It is. It's not for the group that it is for. It's not for the younger group. That's what I was trying to tell you. Said that because they're trying to trigger.
It sounds weird when I say it.
The old group, right?
I agree. That's why I said earlier. I said, make no mistake, the 90% are the target audience. Right. So you're right. They're
grooming them.
Yes, it's targeting 6 to 12, but everybody else is the one. We're all seeing it.
We lose Joel. Okay, well, we had a little bit of technical difficulty there, so we got it straightened out. Joel, I believe you were agreeing with Brian at the time.
Right. Yes. And I knew it was going to be confusing when I wrote it down, but it's make no mistake, the 90% of the target audience, and it's like a reverse writing. It's very smart in a way, not very nice, but it's very, it's like a trick. But the target audience is 6 to 12 because it's on Disney Plus, and it's on the BBC iPlayer, which is, I hate to say this, but it's on the iPad. And what do parents do when the kids are being bad? They pass off the iPad. Here, click BBC iPlayer. Here you go. Enjoy the new episode of. Here you go. I mean, whatever it is in whatever show.
And but this is what I think is kind of like grooming too. I mean, it's starting to be a trend.
We won't know. For another 5-6 years. I don't know how long the iPad's been the babysitter. I don't know. We won't know. Well, we'll know soon enough. I mean, 5 or 6 years from now, we'll figure it out. They'll tell us. Those young kids will grow up, and I'm sure will tell us. I'm sure they will not be quiet. But that was my bit on the Devil's Court. You heard me say that it's a foreshadow for a bigger villain later on. But that episode was basically it's a projection of Davies. Is what that episode is. So he's trying to tell you that it's an apocalypse for him, for somebody to tell him how to write or not to write, or what to do or what not to do, or critique this or critique that, and I'll be back.
Right.
And I'm the maestro. The only thing I can tell you about the episode that I did like is I actually enjoyed the maestro. That was the fun part for me. The episode, I actually enjoyed it.
I have no problem saying I really enjoyed the dude too. I mean, like it was pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I don't like is the doctor. Man, this is 2 episodes in now, and the first episode they made him scared because of some
dumb. He's dumb too,
right?
He's not intelligent.
And this episode, he can't fight this. It's too powerful for me.
Yep.
And he doesn't have all the answers and stuff. And I don't like that, dude. I don't want a dumbed down doctor at all, or a puss either.
The strong, intelligent one got split off from him with NPH. NPH went and they split. And Tennant's doctor is the smart and strong,
and that's the one we want to watch. And then so we get stuck with this shit for fucking 7-year-olds. I'm saying, fine, you want to make this shit, make it for the 7-year-olds. We want our shit back.
Right. Yeah. For 2 years, by the way, Disney paid for 2 years worth of this. So we're before they re-signed contracts, according to I think it was Hollywood Reporter, 2 years. 2 years.
Yeah, they're already in the second season filming and stuff. So they've been in it for a while.
If Disney really wanted to get their S right after the whole Marvel stuff and whatnot,
right?
What they should have done with this is exactly what we're talking about. They should have produced this, and then they should have done a second show with Tennant for us.
Yeah, and then they could do crossovers and stuff if they want to, but I still don't think that's necessarily off the table. I still think we're going to see Tennant and somehow I don't know that he's going to get his own show. Boy, that would be a lot for him to commit to.
Right. He's already pretty much said he doesn't want to, right?
I think he said he didn't want to.
Yeah. So I think we'll see him pop in here and there. In fact, I would be willing to bet he's filmed something already. Maybe, if not for this season, for next season.
Right.
And correct me if I'm wrong. We've only seen, and I'm trying to remember where it was. It was probably a Red Nose Day show or something like that. But we've only seen the Doctor do a fourth wall break like once before, right?
I've never seen it. I've never seen all the years I've watched Doctor Who. I've never seen it, and he did it in this episode.
Nose Day show or something like that. It wasn't like a standard episode.
No,
I don't remember anything from like standard canon. It being him doing a fourth wall.
No, there's only 2 times I know of Doctor Who anybody breaking the fourth wall in Doctor Who. That's Maestro in this episode,
right?
And back in the day, the second episode ever to air was the Daleks. And that was the first Daleks episode. And Jacqueline Hill, who played Barbara, was reaching around inside the elevator, was reaching around the walls, and she was right over the camera.
Trigger. I remember it.
Yeah. So that's the only thing I can think of to where they've done that.
Well, it had to be 3 then. Maestro did it at the beginning. The Doctor did it at the end. The Doctor looked at the camera directly.
That's right.
Did a little wink.
So 3. Yeah.
Right. Which I don't know. I am supportive of like having a guest or a villain or something, having that awareness, the meta awareness of being in a show or something like that. But I'm not sure I'm on board with the Doctor taking on that.
Well, you're going to love the next episode. So I'm going to. Have you seen the next episode?
That's the question. It's called Boom, and the teaser for it's so stupid. Boom, boom. Oh my God.
This one's, I don't know if I'm spoiling it for you. I apologize if I am.
Off
it. It's religion is bad. And so it's going to be Christianity and anti-Christian rhetoric. And it's Stephen Moffat's return, who quoted, he's never coming back to do a Doctor Who episode ever again. That's the quote.
Yeah,
that's what he said. Except this time around, hey, it's, their target audience, and he gets to do anti-Church of England, brainwashing, gaslighting, indoctrination, radicalization, no God, no heaven. He was all in. And I was like, wow, and Stephen Moffat's got some good episodes. He really does. But he's got some,
real stinkers
wonky stuff. Yeah. But he's a good writer. I think he's more respected than Davies is. But so Boom. That's what the Boom is. It's wind you up with the baby, kick you in the, Jimmy with the maestro, and then, hit him with the boom. We're gonna see these things every single episode. I can't believe they're gonna go to religion. I haven't seen religion probably since the Tom Baker years, but and that was a far off planet, and this is a far off planet. This is a dog collar wearing priest for almost 40K type Christianity. It's a little hierarchy, Primarch. I mean, you'll see. I mean, if you hadn't gone into that part yet, and I'm not gonna. I haven't seen the episode all the way. I've seen clips, and you've probably seen clips, or you've seen a preview, and you've seen descriptors or descriptions of what's happening. But I had notes that the very next thing is we're going to go to Christianity. So if the trend follows here, we start out with we're trying to globalist depopulation space station. Okay. We're going to start with that, but we're going to end with pro-life. And then we go with the world is going to end without my creativity. Okay, but I'm going to end the world with this boss that I'm going to bring out later in the episodes. And now, don't worry, there is no God. There is no religion. There is, total brainwashing religiously, blah, 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 blah. But that would mean, and I haven't seen it yet, I don't know, by the end of the episode, Doctor Who is going to tell us, hey, there is a God. If that really happens by the end of this episode, we're all, we know exactly what we're going to see this season. It's going to be, wow. Are you going to do this? Is this your creative writing class for the year? But it's Russell T Davies' bubble and it's his creative thought path. And I kind of get it if I'm put myself in his shoes, but for me, trying to stick with the suspension of disbelief, I'm trying to give it the best I can give it. I do enjoy Doctor Who. I have since I was a kid. So, I'm trying, guys, but I don't got anything else. I mean, that's 1, 2, 3 shot right there. That's pretty rough.
Yeah, you nailed it perfectly, man.
Something fundamental has happened with writing over our lifetime, actually, in my opinion. It used to always be that people were inspired by something and then they write these great tales. But now instead you see somebody inspired by something, instructed by somebody, something like that. And instead of bringing that element into a show, they make the show about it, or they make the episode about it, or, it's too direct, right? It's no longer an inspiration. It's no longer a color in this grand painting. It's, a turd on the floor. It's like, here, this is what I heard the other day, right?
Yeah. Definitely a turd on the floor. No doubt about that. Well, I think we've said enough about this. We teased it a little bit last week with what we thought might be ended up happening, and they, with 2 episodes under our belt already, we can see. And I'm just gonna have to try and ignore some of this stuff and enjoy what I can enjoy. So let's just move on from that, man. And I gotta ask you guys, have you guys seen this Wolverine Deadpool trailer?
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
Damn. Joel doesn't know, but I have a moratorium on superhero movies.
Right.
And TV shows. I made an exception for it with what's the John Cena thing?
Peacemaker.
I made exception. Very fucking good show.
Really?
Yeah.
That was excellent writing.
It was very, very well written. And he did a fantastic job with it too.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I can
he's
actually
an excellent performer anyway. So
yes, indeed. So after I watched this trailer, I was like, holy shit. This might be somebody's finally getting around. It's because the guys, we're finally in power, in some of these places and able to write this stuff. So we're finally seeing what we should have been seeing 20 years ago. It almost was too little too late. Thank God Jackman still, can do it.
Right.
So what do you guys think, man? I mean, I was blown away. If I will lift the moratorium for this, it's going to be a big deal, I think.
I don't know. I've got mixed feelings. I'm not a huge fan of Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. I've accepted it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think he brings a bit too much camp involved. I think he's too involved in all of the things involved.
Yeah.
Like the writing and the directing and all this other stuff.
Right.
We have yet to see a Lady Deadpool. We have yet to see a lot of other things that are pretty important in Deadpool. We got way nothing burger with Cable in Deadpool 2, in my opinion. That's what it felt like.
That's true. Yeah, I thought Cable was a little bit of a it's nothing burger. That's a great way to put it.
And I mean, so I don't know. Everybody has this appreciation of Deadpool for being irreverent and raunchy and all this other stuff. And it kind of feels like there were a lot of elements to the character that were comical because they weren't meant to be comical, right? It was the people that took Deadpool seriously back in the day. There were a lot of them that, were funny people. I don't know how else to put that.
Well, Joel, your thoughts?
I think that's the only thing Disney's going to make money off of this year. That is my complete and utter, effort of it. I absolutely will see it. I'll probably see it in the theater. The wife and I will go see it. We're big fans. Disney will make money off this movie this year.
I didn't even consider that it was a Disney movie. Yep. And now I have worries.
Bro. It's actually in the trailer.
Yeah. Let me take
You like
it's one of them at the end. It's
Oh
right.
yeah, I
play it,
forgot.
though. It's right here. It's like we can't talk about that. Disney won't allow it.
Yeah, I remember
You know
now.
all the code words.
We can't do that. Nobody. No.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is where they're making money this year. This is a big deal, but it is Marvel Studios. So
I will say, I left out something that I put in the notes, and that is I did miss Loki season 2. I watched season 1, didn't catch 2.
It's good. Well,
and I kind of feel like I want a little more time with the TVA before I go into Deadpool and Wolverine.
You'll get it if you watch it. By the way, Marvel has rebranded themselves this week. They're now not Marvel Studios anymore. It's you see on the screen up top above the Deadpool, it says Marvel Studios.
Yeah.
If you look at the title down at the bottom on YouTube, it's now Marvel Entertainment. So they've as a rebrand they did this week. I'm not exactly sure why they did that this week, but that they rebranded to Marvel Entertainment this week.
I want to say they've been Marvel Entertainment before.
No.
They haven't?
I mean, nope. It's just you're having one of those.
I'm not talking about the studio. I'm talking about like a Marvel company.
Comics?
Yeah. Oh, possibly. Yeah. No, that may be. Yeah. Very well, maybe.
Seems like
I was trying to think back, and I was in the same boat. You may be right.
I am right, and I'll tell you why. I'm pretty sure I'm right, and I think it's because that copyright is probably about to expire, so that's probably why they brought it out.
It could be. That could very well be, and that's why I say I don't know what it is, but that sounds accurate. That sounds like it would be on the money.
Somebody else did that recently too. Somebody in the computer business brought a. Was it Origin? Oh no, we were talking about when EA bought out Origin. They didn't do anything with it, and all of a sudden, like 20 years later, they made some website or something like Origin something or other, and it was just another.
It was their software installer. It was their platform.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and that basically was a trademark re-up for nothing else. So yeah. That would be probably why. Well, hopefully it'll be good and it won't be too Disney-fied. I did also see, and I was just scrolling around and I saw the new Lord of the Rings movies. I think it said trilogy even. Did y'all see that?
I don't know. We've talked about that. I thought I had heard something about multiples, but I think when I thought about it, I don't know if it was like a Mandela effect. It was just you and me talking about it.
Yeah.
And I got confused. All I know for sure is that we are supposedly getting a Gollum movie,
right?
Directed by Andy Serkis.
Okay.
Right. We're getting two things. We're getting this
more of the Rings of Power.
We're getting this on Prime.
Okay.
I can't pull this up quick enough because I don't know. There's a logo here somewhere. There it is. So the new season begins August 29th. So we're getting this on August 29th, and this is not affiliated, but this is Amazon.
Right, that's Amazon. And that's
here's Peter Jackson. I know that everybody who's in a dark room right now just wants to kill me. But Peter Jackson, Andy Serkis, Philip.
Okay, so
Boyens.
Peter is attached.
He is, yes,
because that's what it said on this, that partner? he was attached to this thing.
Him and his partner
is Fran Walsh. They're both attached, and they're going to be doing. I don't know that it's going to be a trilogy. It may be. I don't know, but by the end of it, it says, and this is from Deadline. This was 2 days ago. They were given permission to do this sort of thing. I guess through the family.
Yeah,
Tolkien family, Tolkien. But yeah, as far as I know, it's just the Gollum stuff. But they are not. Maybe they will. I don't know. I hope they do. But
to be clear, this is supposed to be a lot of the periods sprinkled throughout the timeline, right?
Right.
So I don't know. I think people were talking about possible prequels and other stuff.
Put it back on something dark.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Big fan of Andy. So I don't know. Not as big of a fan of Gollum.
No.
So
I'm not sure.
I want to see what he does with it, but I don't have high hopes because I'm not that into Gollum, right?
Right. And I don't know. Is anybody really into Gollum? I mean,
I'm sure Andy is.
Yeah, Andy definitely is. I mean, like through and through. Totally.
I bet he's like, oh yes, oh yes.
Yeah, so yeah, it's something to look forward to, maybe. Brian, what did you have on the notes there about some of that next thing there?
Oh, the Square Enix?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, apparently they have not been performing that well on the PlayStation platform as of recent.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so they have
That's odd.
decided to start introducing some of their games on other platforms, such as Epic and other game providers, probably on GOG as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
You'll see it in sales. They're going to be offering sales. There was one recently on Epic, I think, where they had
I'll put it
Kingdom
up.
Hearts titles.
Here's a warning. Spoiler. I'm going to blind you. There we go. PC Gamer Magazine.
Yeah. Week sales on Final Fantasy and other properties as well. Just basically, they've discovered that a singular platform isn't working for them. Surprise.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Most people switching to phone or, not doing anything.
Yeah.
Money.
Right.
Well, and they did get a little stingy with not having the Xbox, because they brought some Final Fantasy stuff over to Xbox, and then they were like, "Well, but we're not giving you the new Final Fantasy VII remake. Sorry."
Yeah.
Right.
That was kind of a dick move.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's all done with their business pricing structure and their I forget what it is, but it's basically the model for how you interact with distributors and your audience.
Yeah.
That's all set in stone by the company, and they've basically been working by that, and now they're trying to basically un-F themselves.
Yeah, I can give you the TLDR, but basically this is 2 weeks ago. They reported, Square Enix reports a $140 million loss to Final Fantasy, and they are basically saying goodbye to Sony completely.
Wow.
And giving the middle finger and saying, hey, we're not going to do PlayStation exclusivity anymore, which they've been doing since the beginning of PlayStation 1. I mean, that's how we all played, like Final Fantasy 2, was it? I don't remember. We all played it. It was, nobody missed it. But yeah, if you scroll down just a little here, you can see cancellation of various projects, sunk development cost around 140 million, layoffs across the Europe and US. So it goes on, and they're just, these games are all PlayStation 5 exclusives. They're going to just pull them out. This is this is what's going to happen. So we are going to lose exclusivity on PlayStation, but I mean, they're not going to stop making games, but that's a big deal for Sony. That is really, that hurts Sony,
It does.
I'm also wondering who's going to follow suit, right?
I don't know. I mean, they're going to be hurting.
Man, the games industry is just fucking crazy right now, dude, with like the layoffs and shit, man.
It is, yeah.
I mean, just the big, huge companies like, Bethesda tanking with Starfield. I know Joel loves it. I tried to enjoy it. I couldn't find the joy in it, man. But I'm harder to keep attention, to keep the focus on. But it just wasn't what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah,
I have a real expectation of what I want, and it was close. It was very close, but just didn't meet that.
I'll find something darker to look at than that screen.
What I was going to say is, so far as who follows suit, this is kind of like opening floodgates for other companies that aren't Square Enix, who do exclusivity with PlayStation, to fill their coffers again. If there's some way for them to navigate forward with breaking these contracts like that, then they're definitely going to do it. It's a new revenue stream for them, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
So I would love to see God of War and some of these other exclusive titles be released as well, because all it's going to do is just more income to the people that made these games, and maybe hopefully we'll get more of those types of games.
Yeah, and it's interesting too that like we just did a story a couple months back about Xbox and their exclusivity titles.
Mm-hmm.
You know, letting go of some stuff, but wow. I mean, yeah, it's just crazy times out there in the games industry, man. And at least little know-nothing independent studios are making some good shit too.
Oh yeah, I mean, the wife and I both are not playing American games currently.
Yeah,
On purpose.
right.
We are both playing.
Well, your wife's only playing one game, isn't she?
Yeah, I think. Are you? You know, I'd have to ask her, but yeah, I think she's only playing one game, and then hers is from China. Mine is from South Korea. So yeah, we are absolutely playing other games from other countries that are not affected by DEI, woke, some type of message to preach to us. I mean, here we are. We're going to go right back to the beginning of, you know, the whole controversy of everything. This is we don't want to be preached to when we're trying to be entertained. We're already, you know, everybody on the planet low on funds. We would like to have some escapism, please.
Yeah,
please. We'd like to be entertained. All of us, not just a certain percentage of us. It kind of harks back to me, you know, back to the beginning.
Well, it's interesting. Their message is, you know, like everybody should have a chance. Well, you're taking away our chance. So what the fuck?
Right. I don't
makes
get
sense
that
to
at
me.
all.
Yeah. Yeah. They speak out both sides of their mouth, as far as I can tell.
Yeah. Whichever way the money flows.
Yep.
Yeah. That's kind of the point, right?
It's all about the almighty dollar. Well, guys, anything else?
Yeah. I've got to tell you one more thing.
All right.
I did not get a chance to say an accurate statement last time because I didn't see Star Trek Discovery, but I've watched Star Trek Discovery since the last episode, even though I put the rating in of 2.5. I give it a 3. I give Star Trek Discovery a 3. Absolutely. I thought it picked up a little bit. And the continuity wasn't that bad. And I'll definitely give it a 3 out of 5. The wife and I both enjoyed the episode. It's got its moments, but you know, we like the engineer character in the show. We think Reno? She's the best.
Yeah,
I think it's Reno.
Yeah.
We like Reno the most in the whole show, and we think her character could have easily been in any Star Trek show in the past. She could have fit and socketed. You know, you could have put her in Voyager. You could have put her in DS9. You could have put her in TOS. You could have done. You could have done so much more with her character, and they don't give her much screen time.
I don't know why they don't give her any screen time.
I think she's great. I think the writing for her is great. I think the whole scene there where she's like, you know, and I know that they kind of cut on her. You know, they kind of cut on her in the episode, telling her, hey, we heard that you knew this about these scrolls. And she's like, I kind of padded my resume. I'm so sorry, blah, blah, you know. And I'm like, you know, I was like, I was fine with it. I was like, that is so cool. That's so Reno. Cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like you fake it till you make it. That's typical Hollywood. So I saw the episode. I gave it another point immediately. I was like, oh my God, you know, here you go. You try to do something with this character. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I don't know why I mean, she is to me the best character there.
Yeah, we agree. Yeah, the wife and I both agree.
I don't know what the fuck, dude. I mean,
I don't know.
Well, you know, she's not the big star.
Right.
She's not Burnham, so.
Right.
You know, personally, I miss Georgina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great character.
I'm still waiting to see if that Section 31 show is going to surface, man. I kind of feel like it is. It might just be a movie, though. I think that's what it's going to end up being. Just like a little We talked about that with the future of Legacy hanging in the balance of whether it's going to ever come out or not. And I think we did say that there was a Picard movie we know is coming out, and Section 31's probably going to be a movie too. Right. Maybe not. We'll see. Who knows?
I don't know. I would have. I liked a lot of what they did with the Terran universe in some of the earlier stuff.
I'll give her some screen time. There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah. Of course, they were messing with stuff that people didn't like.
Amazing character.
Really? Yeah, no doubt, man. Very funny. She's a comedian. She's very, very funny.
Yeah, Tig Notaro. She's pretty funny.
Yeah. Very, very funny. I like Linus. Now, of all the characters that he's just funny as shit too. Just the stuff he says.
Yep.
But yeah. So yeah, we're gonna be talking about the next episode. Was it episode 8 of Discovery on Monday or something like that? And of course, we'll have it for y'all by Wednesday with those until we finish that out, and then who knows what we're moving on to? Probably the Acolyte.
I feel like it's a good time for us to start talking about Fallout on the next episode.
Yeah, well, we need to talk about Fallout for sure, and that will come next podcast. We've got to do that because I finally finished watching. I know Joel's watched it. I know you.
Oh, yeah.
watched
Oh,
it,
it's
so-
amazing.
Yeah,
Congrats.
it is
Binged
fantastic.
through.
Absolutely. So, guys, until we meet each other again, remember, as always, be excellent to each other, and remember, Brian, Joel, and I will always see you on the flip side. Peace out, y'all.
Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Later, everyone.
Yeah. Peace out.